Hey there, welcome back to my channel. My name is Gillian Perkins, and in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how you can figure out whether or not your idea for an online course would be profitable or not, and how to come up with an idea for a profitable course if you don't already have a lot of ideas. I'm going to be going into a fair amount of detail in this video, and so in order to make this process as simple and easy for you as possible, I put together a little quiz that you can actually run your ideas through. So if you want to take your ideas for a test spin, then make sure you check the description box down below for a link to actually try that quiz for yourself. The process of finding a profitable course idea has three main phases. First, you need to generate good ideas. Then you need to analyze those ideas. And then finally, you need to test those ideas for profitability. And throughout the rest of this video, we're going to be getting deep into how to do each of those three steps. All right, so the first phase of the process is to generate some good ideas. Some ideas that potentially could be really profitable online courses. Now, in this phase of the process, you're probably in one of three camps. You might already have some ideas for courses that you want to create, or maybe you have some ideas about who you want to create a course for, a certain group of people or people who are struggling with a certain problem, or maybe it's just people who are like you. And then the third camp that you might find yourself in is that you don't know exactly what course you want to create or who you want to create it for, but you have some sort of skill or area of professional expertise that you could use to create a course. So in this first phase of the process, regardless of which of these three situations fit your situation, the main point here is to just come up with a bunch of different ideas for potential courses. So think about who you could help and what you could help them with. And maybe you want to help someone who you see struggling with some type of problem, but you don't know the solution yet. And I don't want you to let that stop you, because you can find the solution for them. You can learn what you need to learn and then teach it to them if that is something that you feel passionate about. So maybe you already have the knowledge and you can create the course that way, or maybe you need to get the knowledge. But either way, that is still an option. Now, I really want to move on to the second phase of the process, which is analyzing the ideas, but I know that you might still be stuck here. So let's just spend a minute longer talking about how to come up with these ideas, just in case you don't already have ideas. What I'd recommend that you do is that you think about something that you have achieved or learned or figured out or solved in your life. So a problem that you are facing that you somehow overcame, or else a problem that someone who is close to you was facing that they overcame. Ultimately, people buy courses because they're looking for solutions to problems that they have. Maybe their problem is that they're lacking some knowledge that's preventing them from advancing their career or increasing their income. Maybe they're struggling with their health, or they don't feel confident in their ability to dress stylishly. But whatever it is, they're facing some sort of problem and they want to buy a course that will teach them how to solve that problem. So that's why I recommend that if you don't already have an idea for a course, you think about the problems that you've solved for yourself or solved for others in the past. Okay, so once you've completed that first phase of the process and you've generated some ideas for courses, then it's time to move on to the second phase, which is to analyze those ideas. And in this phase, you're basically just going to run your idea through a series of questions. Right now, I'm going to rattle off several questions that I would recommend you answer about your course idea. However, these questions are all inside of that quiz that I mentioned earlier on in the video. So if you want a complete list of the questions, then make sure you click that link down below and actually use the quiz itself. The first question is, would your course solve a specific problem? So not a general problem, but a specific problem that someone is actually facing. The next question is, how big or how bad is that problem that the course would solve? See how well you can quantify the harm that someone is experiencing that your course would help them overcome. And then beyond what the problem is, how is that problem having a negative effect on people's lives? Another question related to the problem that you should ask about your course is, how many people are actually struggling with that problem? Is it just 5 people in the whole world, or are there hundreds or thousands of people who are actually facing that problem who might be interested in a solution? The next question that you need to answer is, can you easily find groups of people who are struggling with this problem? So this is where we need to move away from, oh, I know there are people out there who are struggling with this problem, to can you actually find groups of these people? Like, are there Facebook groups, full of these people who are struggling with their problems? Do you know other people who already have businesses that are serving people with this problem? Do those people congregate in some way? Are there local meetups for people who have this problem? Now, if the answer is yes, and you actually can find groups of these people, then it's going to be relatively easy for you to market your course because you'll be able to find the people to share your course with. However, if these people are completely scattered and they don't congregate anywhere, it's going to be really tough to be able to scale your marketing. You'll have to be telling one person at a time, and it will be really slow going. And the final question that I'll mention to you now is, how confident are you in your solution? If you're trying to decide between making course A and course B, and you 100% know how to solve the problem that course A solves, but the idea for course B, you know, is an important idea that solves a problem that people are really facing, but you're not 100% sure that you can actually help people solve that problem. In that situation, of course, you would want to choose course A. Now, like I said earlier in this video, it's okay to plan to make a course that you don't know what all the material would be yet. However, if you're considering 2 or more different options and there's one that you feel really confident in, then it would make the most sense to choose that one. All right, so we've completed the first 2 phases of the process. You've generated ideas, and then you've also analyzed those ideas by asking some questions about them. Now it's time to move on to the third and final phase of the process, and I'll warn you ahead of time, this does require the most work of any of these phases, and a lot of people skip this phase completely, and you might choose to do that, and that's totally fine. The risk here with skipping the third phase, and I'll say it now, the third phase is beta testing your idea to figure out for sure whether or not people are actually willing to pay for the solution that you're considering offering. And the reason why it's risky to skip this third phase of the process is because if you don't actually validate your idea as a course idea that people are interested in paying for, then you might invest a whole lot of time up front creating a course that you might later find out nobody wants to buy. And I really don't want you to be in that situation where you've invested hours and hours, maybe 40, 80, 100 hours into creating a course only to find out that your time was wasted. So that's why I would recommend that you definitely do this third step, even though it does require a little bit of work. Now, I have a specific way that I would recommend that you do this, and I'll get into that in just a moment, a way that will make this a lot easier. However, before I get into that, I'll just mention 2 resources that I have here. This is the 4-Hour Workweek. You've probably heard of this book. It's very popular. And in this book, if you happen to have it, it is in Step 3, A is for Automation, Chapter 10, Income Autopilot, Testing the Muse. So you can read Tim Ferriss's thoughts on testing your idea. And then also this book right here, it's called Will It Fly? It's by Pat Flynn. And this book is all about beta testing your ideas, essentially. How to test your next business idea so you don't waste your time and money. So if you want to read an entire book on the topic, you can check that out. Now, here is the simplest, most effective way that I have found to beta test a course idea. And that is to test it as a webinar or as a workshop. Now, here's what I mean by that. Take your course and think about, okay, what problem is this course solving for people? Maybe they don't know how to dress stylishly. You have a course about how to dress yourself stylishly, and then they learn this thing, which is how to dress themselves stylishly, right? And their problem is solved. So what you want to do is create a one-time online event, a webinar or a workshop, where people either can attend for free or can pay a small sum of money in order to get some help with that problem. In order to pull this off and beta test your idea in this way, first of all, you'll need to plan the event and figure out what you'll actually teach people during the workshop and what result will be created by the workshop, what their outcome will be. Then you'll need to advertise your workshop. And if you already have an audience, you can just advertise it to them. But if you don't, then you might need to invest a little bit of money into some paid advertising so that you can get the word out about your workshop and see whether or not people actually are interested in paying money for it. Now, at this stage of the game, the point of advertising your workshop and charging people for it is not for you to make money. In fact, you should plan on losing a little bit of money testing your idea, but it will be worth it in the long run because you'll be investing in figuring out the best, most profitable course idea that you can create. And then once you've planned your workshop and you've advertised it, if anyone signed up, then you'll actually present the workshop and give that information to people. Then you have have a small audience of people who you can interview and ask questions about the material and whether or not it was helpful to them. Once you go through this process of planning the workshop, advertising it, and presenting it, not only will you have figured out whether or not people are interested in paying for it, but if people were interested in paying for it, you had several people sign up, you gave the workshop to them, you then have the opportunity to get some testimonials from them, to ask them questions about what they liked and what they didn't like, and that gives you so much valuable information that you can use when you're creating and marketing. All right, so before we wrap this up, I have just a couple final things to share with you. First of all, I just want to recap for you the process of finding a profitable course idea. So first of all, you're going to generate ideas. Second, you're going to analyze them by asking a series of questions about each idea that you're considering so that you can make sure that it has the potential to be a profitable course idea. And then finally, the third step is to test your idea, do some sort of beta test, and I'd recommend that you do this by hosting a low-cost online workshop. Now, before you go, I wanted to let you know about an awesome free opportunity that's coming up. Teachable, which is the online course platform that I use and love myself, is hosting a free online event called the Women Who Create Summit. During the summit, a couple dozen successful female course creators will be sharing exactly what worked for them in terms of finding a good course idea, creating their course, and marketing their course. And if you're interested in becoming a course creator yourself, or if you are a course creator and you just want to learn more to help you be even more successful at it, then I highly recommend that you join them for the event. I know that I will definitely be listening in every single day because they have some amazing speakers lined up, including Sherry Salata, Marie Forleo, and Nicole Walters. Like I said before, the summit is completely free, so make sure you check the description box down below for a link to sign up for the Women Who Create Summit. Well, I hope that this video helps you find a really profitable idea for your first or your next online course. Make sure you do use that quiz that's linked down below to run your ideas through and figure out whether or not they have the potential to be profitable. And if you're planning to create a course, then make sure you comment down below and tell me what you're planning to have your course be about and what problem your course will solve for people, because I find it really interesting to hear about all of the amazing courses that people create, and I can always use more examples as I'm trying to explain to people who aren't familiar with online courses what people make courses about, because sometimes people think that courses are only made about either marketing or else about creative things. So I would really appreciate having an even bigger variety of examples to share with people. Well, I've probably already said this a couple times, but thank you so much for watching. I'm really happy to have you here. I hope you found this helpful, and I hope to see you again next time.